Today's video, I'm going to talk about the one thing that will make you drastically more attractive to women without improving your physical appearance, without getting into better shape, without making more money, and even without working on your personality. It's something that will make you exude an energy, a vibe. I know that sounds very woo-woo, but it's the best way you can put it. It makes you carry yourself in a way that women automatically gravitate to. It gives you a magnetic pull just in the way you carry yourself. And this can make up for so many other areas. It can make up for not being the best looking guy, for not being in the best shape. Even though, in a funny way, if you have this, you're probably moving in the direction of getting into better shape, of making more money, etc., etc. And funny enough, I'm not the biggest fan of the red pill and their philosophy. I think there are good ideas, there are good nuggets, but there's so much that's just, oh, women are like that, riding the car carousel. It's just so much negativity towards women, which without focusing on taking responsibility for men being just as messed up as women. And the types of relationships that red pill coaches tend to have are transactional. Look at, I've brought it up recently, but look at Michael Sartain.
You heard every third word you said.
Can we talk about something else? Because we've been on this for 20 minutes straight. Did you hear that one, Michael?
Okay, here we're gonna shout out everyone on Twitch. Eric, could you pull up the Twitch? Jeremy, we'll get to that in a sec. Thank you, man.
And the kind of women they attract are not what I consider appealing, right? Like the clout chasing, plastic surgery. Like, why do you want that, bro? Like, you really want that? If that is what you want, and you do want transactional relationships, then, follow the red pill. But even though most of their philosophy, I tend to disagree with things here and there, there's one thing that they get very right, which is the power of being on your purpose. The best way to put this is that the way you carry yourself will drastically change if you're someone who spends all your free time playing video games, watching TV, eating junk food, engaging in negative habits that are basically avoiding reality, where you're trying to be comfortable, you're avoiding anything difficult, you're avoiding stress. The more that is the case, the more you will lack that penetrative energy, which I think is a great phrase, that energy of like, this guy fucks. The energy of masculinity, of being on your purpose. You'll lack that energy and you'll just seem weak. You'll seem soft. Women will feel on a metaphorical level, or maybe even they literally feel like this, being around you, that you just couldn't even get hard, that you couldn't get it up, right? That you wouldn't be able to fuck them. And that energy is repellent. That energy is extremely unattractive and just makes them see you as a friend, someone they might be able to get a transaction out of. They might be able to get money or attention or those kinds of things, but they don't want to have sex with, right? It's not a leader. It's not someone who's in charge, who's in control, who's doing things with their life of value. However, the more you are doing things that challenge yourself, that stretch yourself, that cause you to grow, that are stressful, but you do them anyway, right? The more you're living a lifestyle of discipline, of pushing yourself, of giving up bad habits, like watching TV, like playing too many video games, like all those kinds of things, too much TikTok, delete TikTok, Jesus fucking Christ, like what a absolute waste of your energy, and it's rotting your mind and your attention span. But the more you're doing things like reading high quality books, practicing meditation, practicing, it could be martial arts or yoga or whatever, working on a business, putting yourself out there and meeting new people, going to social events, going out into the world and doing things as opposed to avoiding and trying to minimize the stress you face, trying to minimize the amount you experience life. The more you're doing things that most people in the modern world, most men, are too, you could call it lazy, you could call it whatever you want, but they make excuses and avoid doing the things that are good for them in the long term. So the more you're doing things that are difficult in the short term but good for you in the long term, and the less you're doing things that are easy in the short term but make your life worse in the long term, the more you will carry yourself with that energy of being on your purpose. And women are just absolutely attracted to that. And if you have that, You can say all the wrong things. You can not be a girl's type. You can be all the things and do everything wrong. You can be all the things that she says she doesn't want. And you can do everything wrong, and you will still have a lot of success. Women will still be drawn to you, because you have to understand, this is something I don't think gets talked about nearly enough, even in the red pill, funny enough, because they're very evolution based. Sex is pre-verbal. Sex is something that we didn't need language as a species to be able to have. Our mating ritual, if you will, doesn't require talking. Because if you don't know, we've had language for 50 to 100,000 years. And yet we've been Homo sapiens for it's something like 500,000 to a million years. I don't know the exact numbers, but for a very long time. And for all that time before we had language, we were still having sex or we wouldn't exist. And what that means is that it was the way we carried ourselves, right? It was physical aspects, it was status. Those are, of course, factors too. I'm not one of those dating coaches that denies those things matter. Of course they matter. But the thing that gets neglected so much is that the way you carry yourself, non-verbally, your vibe, that is extremely powerful, because that's what our species reacted to and responded to before we had language. Language is just the surface level. It's the tip of the iceberg. You can do a lot with it. It's very powerful, but you don't even need it. You can turn a woman on without needing to say something sexual, right? It's just the way you look at her, the way you carry yourself, your groundedness, your unreactiveness, your masculine energy. If you're in touch with that, you don't need the surface level things. And if you're skeptical, I understand. I would be skeptical too. But ask yourself, have you ever been a man who truly feels like you're living on your path and purpose? Have you ever lived a life where you're constantly challenging yourself and doing things that most other men would be too afraid to do? Have you ever had a lifestyle where you're leaning into discomfort instead of constantly avoiding discomfort? And if you haven't, that might have a lot to do with why you've struggled with getting women to see you in a sexual way, with getting them to react to you in a way where they don't see you as a friend, they don't see you as someone they can get something from, but they're turned on just by who you are. And I want to be clear, if you have that, but you're not putting yourself out there, don't expect that, oh, women are just going to start coming on to you, they're going to start pursuing you, because one of the parts of being on your path and purpose, of being what I would consider a real alpha male, is being someone who's willing to go for what you want, right? When you see a hot girl, you're willing to put yourself out there. You're willing to make a move. You're willing to take a risk, as opposed to being someone who tells themselves, oh, well, they need to be coming to me. You're looking for the easy way out. That's a reflection of this concept, right? That's an example of this concept. So don't see this as a way to avoid facing rejection, putting yourself out there, asking women out, because actually being someone who does those things will make you carry yourself in a way that is more attractive to women, because on a very real level, you're not someone who is submissive to social conditioning, right? You're someone that is a genuine leader because you do what you want to do. You're willing to take risks that other men aren't willing to take because you're not a follower. So I hope you found this video useful. This is definitely something that you should think about and that you should consider. What are the ways in which you can be a man who's living on your purpose? Which, look, it will get you more women, it will make you more attractive to women, but it's also going to get you all the other things you want in life. It's also how you're going to achieve all your other goals as well. So it's not just about getting laid, it's bigger than that. But as a bonus, you will also become more attractive and more successful with women when you implement this. And if you're someone who's wanted to take control of your dating life, to have more options, to get out of scarcity where you're hoping maybe one day some girl will ask you out, or you're settling for the unattractive women that you match with on Tinder because you have no other options, if that describes you and you want to get out of that, the fastest way to do so is to work with me in person. And over the next few months, I'm going to be traveling to every major city in the United States: New York, Chicago, Miami, all the major cities, Dallas, Austin, Phoenix, etc., etc. But after that, I'm going to be going to Europe for over 6 months. So if you want to work with me in person and get this handled, over the course of a weekend, as opposed to taking years, which is what tends to happen for a lot of guys who just wait and wait and wait and put it off and make excuses. If you're someone who wants to take this seriously, you don't want to be a dabbler, in-person coaching is the easiest way to make that shift, and you can click the link below to schedule a free call with me to see if you're a good fit for one of my programs. And if you happen to be in Europe, this is the first time where I may be able to work with you in your city, so make sure to click the link below and schedule a call so you don't miss that opportunity.